Tune in. This week in car audio. Tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in. This week in car audio. Yeah. Tune in. This week in car audio.
Welcome to This Week in Cardio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, co-hosted by Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez. What's up? What's up, Jeffrey?
Nothing much, Doug. How you doing?
All right. Did you have a show this last weekend, or you got one coming up?
This last weekend,
How'd
actually
that go for you?
yesterday. These Sunday shows are going to be kind of hard to get used to, having to get up the next morning and go to work. Let me see. I think I might have just lost the feed. No. Okay, here we go. Sorry, let me just click something.
All right.
But yeah, so we had a show yesterday. It was actually a dual organization. Sorry if I'm. There we go. Yeah, it was a dual organization. Myself with DB Drag and Shane Chandler with T.W.I.C.A. So we had quite a few people turn out yesterday at the event. Wow, a bunch of loud cars too. Yeah, T.W.I.C.A. brought out some loud guys. We're gonna try to get them to migrate into DB Drag. Maybe try out the freestyle, which is essentially the similar format as the outlaw T.W.I.C.A. style, but
Yeah.
we're gonna try to make that happen. We're gonna try to do more dual organization events. Next one's gonna be, of course, the Toys for Tots. Next month, we're trying to finalize the date.
Which is essentially
Wow, I thought California had a ton of shows going on at the same time. It seemed like everyone had like 2 day shows. The day that we were looking at, there was like other organizations that were having 2 day events and four
Really?
X's and stuff like that. Yeah, so we're like, oh man, we gotta maybe pick another date. So it's either gonna be maybe the weekend before or possibly the weekend after. But yeah, so be on the lookout for that. The next Crossfire show is going to be looking at maybe the second or third weekend in December. But overall, it was a fun show. Yeah, base race is getting really good. It's like we can never get the same competitors to win like back-to-back months. It's always
Gotcha.
somebody new, or it actually was the same competitor winning last month and this month, but yeah, there was more competitors this month. It was actually Dana who competed again,
Your wife?
and yeah.
All right.
So we put something in the Toyota, and she's been competing. It essentially what it was is so Team Crossfire Hansen,
Right.
E-Box.
E-Box.
He comes to practice, right?
Uh-huh.
So sometimes it's just him by himself. So he really can't. He's probably hitting nines all the time, but without a competitor next to him, it's different.
It's a
right?
different game. Absolutely.
So I was like, you know what? Let me throw something in my Toyota. We'll just like go heads up, and then we'll try practice, and I was like, let me get my wife to do it, and man, she just like caught on really fast. Her first ever base race competition, she takes first place, beating out a couple of base race world finalists. So
Seasoned
that was
veterans, huh?
seasoned veterans, exactly. And so she kind of caught the bug, and she tried it again yesterday, and sure enough, she won the 20s class. And we thought maybe it might have been a fluke last month, but she proved it just yesterday. She might need some work with Top Dog, because we were working with her with Top Dog a little bit, but we haven't really got a chance to practice Top Dog. But Yeah. So I think we practiced the Friday before yesterday's show. So
Uh-huh.
late last week, and between her and Eric, man, they had like six tiebreakers, and they were random numbers, and wow, it's just it's really
Eric popping
intense.
in with she is really good. Uh,
Yeah, she's catching on really fast, so hopefully she'll do more.
Speaking of Eric, let's mention our sponsors for today: Voodoo Customs,
Yes.
E-Box, and Crossfire Car Audio. And you said you had an announcement about Crossfire for this coming or the following week. So what was
Yeah,
that?
so speaking of Crossfire, what we all
Hmm.
know is our sponsor for the podcast here. Just a heads up to the Crossfire car audio dealers that are watching and listening. A little birdie told me that there's going to be a Black Friday sale. Um, Big percentages off. Check your emails, Crossfire dealers, because there's going to be an email letting you guys know about the Black Friday sale, which it's called Black Friday, but it's going to be from now until the end of the month, which should be really cool. And for all the consumers out there, hit up your local Crossfire dealers. There's going to be some killer deals. Also, check out the authorized online dealers Down for Sound as well as Audio Apex.
All right. Just so everybody knows, it's paying attention to the shows so far. We don't have a guest on tonight, so it's just going to be Jeffrey and I. So if you guys have any questions for us or whatever, other than that, we'll just kind of hang out with you guys. If you guys want to, just throw something out there for us to kind of mull over, we'll do that too. So I was in Jeffrey's second home this weekend, um,
Uh-oh.
bowling there in Vegas.
I love
Shot
Vegas.
my second ever 300. So I shot 300 on Sunday. Um,
What?
yeah, it's only my second, but I typically
I
bowl
don't
on
believe
very
that.
difficult stuff.
Second?
Yeah, only my second.
That's
Um,
that's perfect. That's a strike every
I
what
actually had 18 in a row. So,
18 in a
but
row.
12 in a
Wow.
row would be 300. And then I continued on into the next game before I finally left the 10 pin. Um, but my son, um, here I'll pull up his scores because I don't want to misquote his scores. Let's see here. So my son went 255, which means he only missed twice, and
Wow.
190, and then 251, which means he only missed twice. And he came in with the 166 average. Oh, we destroyed the brackets. So he made a
Uh-oh.
few $100, which was
Were
cool.
you guys like a team? Is that
We
how that worked?
were. We were
Oh,
on a
okay.
team.
Cool.
Uh, Steve Willis says bowling thought this was a DV drag thing. Any updates on rules for next year? Shoot, dude, this is the third call I've got. Um, my comment and podcast is pending. That's weird.
Uh-oh.
Um, hold on a second. Doing my podcast. Um, Anyway, yeah, I don't see. I wonder why Joel's isn't showing. Any updates on rules for next year? What have you been seeing, Jeffrey?
Well, we did that podcast
Yep.
last week about the rules. We didn't get too many comments. Either that or they're maybe wanting to do it more on a private private message basis.
Uh huh.
I haven't received anything.
Steve Willis says we're
Um,
ringers. It may have been something like
ringers.
that.
Uh-oh. That must be a bowling term. Well, no, ringers.
Well,
Okay,
yeah,
ringers.
just ringers. You bring in somebody that is much better than what's advertised, and they show up and they kind of do a little extra for somebody else's money. Yeah, so actually, Celeste texted us today and asked us,
Right. Yeah.
as a judging group, do we have any suggestions for rule changes or anything like um, rule changes or clarification of rules? And right now, I personally haven't seen anything that I had to, to mention. So Did we mention something last week, Jeff? I thought we had some clarification things.
Um, let's see here. I did take some notes. Um, no, nothing that we talked about specifically. I know I brought up a couple of things, was a couple of basic rules that uh, believe it or not, World Finals had a competitor um, didn't really know there was a 30-inch clearance from the sensor to the back of the seat.
Oh, yes.
Um, I'm not, I mean, I had to look for it myself just to make sure it was in there. But yeah, I was wondering how that kind of got lost with this competitor making it all the way to finals, not realizing that,
Right.
that was a rule.
And was that on your
Um,
coast or?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
We had something similar in California. We had a competitor show up and was like, "Well, what do you mean it's got to be 30 inches?" I'm
Oh,
like,
wow. Yeah.
it's pretty simple. I mean, it's clearly in the rules."
Hmm.
Eric asking, when are we having a Cali, Texas, Tennessee competition?
What?
Already asking. Um, so my thoughts on that is my schedule is pretty set for next year. Um, and you guys just tell me which one you guys want, what day you guys want to do it. We'll start in May, and I'll be doing the same uh, Fridays and Saturdays of the month as I've been doing for the last whatever years. So, um, so my
When's that
dates are
going to
already
kick
set.
off? That's
That
like during the
starts
summer,
May.
right?
Yeah, it starts in May.
Okay, May and May and May.
Oh, there we go. Joel got it. Read the rules, says Steve Willis. That is not a bad idea. Oh, because Eric
Yeah,
says he
and
needs to practice.
oh no, he doesn't.
Uh-huh.
He
Oh,
needs
that
the more
okay.
exposure.
So here's one thing that came up.
Hmm.
Tristan out of Barbados, he says
Okay.
we have some of our competitors putting in some seat time before the show on Saturday. They are doing that. So he actually texted me, and I'm more than sure your answer will match mine. Um, so he says one of our competitors wants to know if he can get out of the car and stay next to it as the score goes up. So it was a little confusing to me at first, but
Hmm.
my response to him was in base race, you can start in or out of the vehicle, but car
Hmm.
must remain sealed during the run. In Top Dog and Freestyle, the car may either be sealed or open or a combination of the two. So you can start sealed, open the door, whatever,
Ah, okay.
you know. So do you have anything you wanted to add to that, or does that seem?
Yeah, I might have been a little confused at first. Here's some seat time. What does that
Oh,
mean
they're talking
exactly?
about they're practicing just like you guys.
Oh, okay. You want to put in some
So let me so let me read off what he does. So he's got an event coming up. Uh, let's see. Oh, I do have a question for him.
Oh,
Uh, call you on. Oh, they're going to call me on Wednesday because they're going to do some training through base race, is what they're going to do. But he says his finalizing judge is Omar Alder. What's an Omar Alder? We don't know him. Just saying. So yeah, let us know who Omar is. Be interesting. Anyway, yeah. So Vegas, I finished up bowling at 5 o'clock. It took me about an hour to get out of the bowling alley and whatnot, and then I had to drive back to Reno, which is a 7.5 hour drive. And so I got out there about 6. I got here about 1:30 ish, and back to Reno, and had to be to work at 6 in the morning. So got to bed
wow.
about 2:30 after unloading my car and whatnot. So yeah, today was a little rough on me.
What?
I did get Jimbo was supposed to be on today, and He texted me and said, yeah, he couldn't make it.
Oh, bummer.
He had some family stuff that came up he had to take care of. So um, Eric says he practices a lot. Apparently, your
Oh
wife
yeah.
is starting to practice a lot.
Yeah, whenever she gets around to it. I think we practiced Friday night till she about fell asleep in the chair. So, you
so,
know,
so with that, with her doing this and practicing, um, uh, you know, that shows that it really doesn't take much to participate, other than a willingness to go out and do it.
and
Um,
just to give you guys a heads up, we when we decided to throw something in the car, that's exactly what we did. It's a 10-inch subwoofer in a ported box with a barely 2K power in there. So, and she's already winning two competitions up against, seasoned veterans. So, you're right, it doesn't take much.
Eric said he wanted to ask Jimbo some questions. He
Uh,
will come on later. We just he needs to get some stuff sorted in his what's going on right now with him that he can make some time for it. But yeah, he definitely is going to come on later on in the season. Um, I believe next week we're either going to have most likely we're going to have the Mellows on for the Mellows Toys for Tots event. Speaking of
cool.
which, do you have a Toys for Tots coming up, or do you have one scheduled? Or
Um, we were locking down the date. Come to find out, there was
oh, that's the one you were talking about. That there's a whole bunch of other
yeah,
ones. Yes.
yeah. So I think we're gonna make it the week after, the Sunday
Yeah.
after.
Okay. I talked to Ray Pimley. He was going to come on tonight possibly and talk about his coming upcoming Toys for Tots events, which one of them is going to be down like December 2nd, I think is what it is. Let me look real
Hmm.
quick because I don't want to send people the wrong way, you know. Ray Pimley. Oh, here it is. December 2nd, we'll be at Audio Concepts. Check his webpage out or IASCA for more information. It's going to be a 2X Mecca, is what it says on the flyer. Oh, wait, that's something different. That's for 2019. Ah,
What?
that's a
Uh-oh.
2019 flyer. Oh, he just used that as like a whatever it's called, throwback or whatever. It was a shared
Oh, I
memory.
see.
But so anyway, so his just says December 2nd. So there's that one there, which is cool. I'm totally cool with that. He was trying to schedule one in Sacramento, and the one in Sacramento did not work out for him.
Mm.
The manager of the property was not cool with the DB drag thing, so or with the Iasca thing. Um,
Oh,
is there is there a set freestyle that will be at finals? There has been some confusion in the past as to what was available. So, all of the freestyle classes are available at World Finals. If you go attend a show and it's a multi-point, um, you just need to let your judge know which class you want to participate in. If it's a single point, your judge has discretion to put whatever it takes to put, you know, he could split up the classes into two classes, into four classes, whatever. But if it's a multi-point, your judge, if you talk to them, most likely will let you enter whatever specific class if you want to be 1K. What are those classes anyway, Jeffrey? Do you know? It's
um,
1K,
yeah. There's a 1K. There's a 5K. There's
no wall.
yeah, no wall and wall. If I can
Yeah.
recall, I don't have my.
Hmm.
Oh, I do have my judge's book right here.
You got it right there. He
Yeah.
wanted confirmation on him showing up to Autorama. That confirmation's like 90%, Eric, on Jimbo showing up to Autorama. They've already started their paperwork so that they can be at Autorama. So, and it does look like Iasca and USAC will also be at Autorama. So if you're a multi-org person, it's a great opportunity. Um, yeah, 2K, 5K, et cetera. Like I said, at a 1X, we tend to limit the amount of classes, but at a multi-point, yes, because you do come to my area. If you go to one of my shows, we'll definitely, all you have to do is let me know what class you want to compete in at a multi-point, and we'll make sure we have that available for you.
I have the classes here for
Okay, what's the
freestyle. So
classes
it's
for freestyle?
street stock 1K
Hmm.
and pro stock 5K,
Okay,
pro stock no limit, super street no wall, and then super street wall.
okay. Let's see here. Eric wants to know, is finals going to be in Owensboro or Dallas or both?
Good question.
That is a
I think
question.
that's what we should ask Celise.
Yeah. So any rules questions? Yeah. Where's finals? um, yeah. And for you guys that don't know, they put a lot of work and time into finals.
Mhm.
They usually start trying to put that together starting in January at the CES show. That's usually when they really start focusing and trying to put that together.
So, Roger had overheard something about Dallas and finals, and
Oh, at
he
the
had a
podcast last
memory.
week?
Yeah, and he had a memory, and he actually found the video. It was on DBTV. It was the first finals. It was for DB Drag and IASCA.
Right.
So DB Drag, I think,
DB Drag
you
was a
know,
format in IASCA when it originally started.
oh, was it? Okay.
Yes.
So they had their finals, I think it was 1995 in Dallas, Texas. And I couldn't believe it. I was telling Roger here, show me where it's at. I had to look it up on Google and stuff like that. But place was huge, and then the crowd, there was so many people there. And it's funny
Yeah.
because it was back in the mid '90s, so everybody and Mark Facuda who was there, and he was
Fukuda.
sporting a big old
Mullet.
mullet.
Yep.
And then Roger was telling me everybody was sporting mullets
Yep.
at that
Wayne.
finals, but
Everybody.
Wayne too,
Yep.
exactly. I saw Celise there too in the video, but and I was like, what? I mean, why can't it be in Dallas again? But I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. But yeah, so I was like, what? There was finals in Dallas, Texas before, so
Yep.
I had him show me.
So Steve Willis asked, why no 2K for the freestyle?
Hmm.
So what would your suggestion or reasoning be for that, Jeffrey?
Um, I think, much like a lot of the classes we either add or delete in DB Drag, it's something that if there's maybe um, a demand for it, it's
Oh,
something that we can add. Um, I don't know. I think there was a question like this last week, and I think Wyatt had answered something like, pretty much. Well, I think it was more so street stock versus pro stock 2K.
right.
It was similar. Um, I don't know. I can't.
So it
I
is
don't know.
based on basically participation, right? So
Right.
if we have the participation, we can add that class if we have a demand for it. It's hard to make a World Finals class that only has 3 people in it. Um, we need to have 4 or 5 people at least in each location for each DB drag or for
Hmm.
freestyle classes. That's why we have way less freestyle classes than we normally do.
And
So
plus, it's still in its,
it's an
we're building
infancy.
it up still.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. So it's something that may be offered in the future. However, probably not at this time.
right. But it is something that could be presented to DB drag as a potential class. Excuse me.
Hmm.
We are going to be going over that next week. Jeffrey and I can throw that in there with the discussion and just see where it goes. Um, if we do add that, what class do we get rid of? Always remember that when you add a
Hmm.
class. So who do we get? What class do we get rid of? Eric says, "Can I do Pro Stock 1K, Jeffrey?" He can do any class he wants.
Freestyle or drag? I mean, I suppose he can.
Yeah, unless he won a ring in DB Drag, which he didn't win with DB Drag ring this year.
Correct.
Because we had that same question a couple of years ago from Lord of Base Manny. He won
Hmm.
a 129 ring, and so with his 129 ring, he was still allowed to compete in Street Stock 1K, even though he got a ring.
But it
It
was in
wasn't a
a
ring
different
in
format.
DB. Yeah, that's right. It wasn't a ring in DB Drag. So he was still able to participate, like I said, in the lower division of DB Drag because he hadn't won a ring in that class yet. Um,
I
there we
had
go.
this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was to say, Steve Willis just asked, so freestyle 1K, stop. Have 1K rules? Question, airbag? Question.
Hmm.
So you want to answer that?
For freestyle 1K stop, have 1K
One K
rules.
stock
Oh,
is, I
1K
believe,
stock.
yeah, I
So
believe it was supposed to
freestyle
be stock. Yeah.
stock. So in freestyle, street stock 1K, 1K rules and an airbag. That's I know
Yes,
airbag was yeah, I think even more so airbag was accentuated with the 1K class, the street stock 1K.
that's right. So that's
So
why he's
yeah.
asking. So street stock. So yes, uh, we tend to mirror the freestyle limitations. 1K in freestyle mirrors 1K in DB drag. So that's why the classes are similar. But
Yeah.
yes, um, that is correct. Still required for the airbag for the 1K class. In the pro stock classes, you don't need to have an airbag. So Eric Hansen says he's got a wall going in soon.
Oh, then what's he talking about being in pro stock 1K?
Maybe that's why I was asking, can he go pro stock 1K with the wall? That would be a
No.
negatory catchatory. Um, so I did have a question for you, Jeffrey. What do you do when you're in Vegas? So I know you gamble. Do you guys go out to eat and stuff too? Do you go to shows? What do you do?
Um, wow, a little bit of everything. And it's funny as you were telling the story that you were in Vegas and then you had to do this 7 hour drive.
Yeah.
Um, for the first time, maybe about a few months ago, well, probably a little bit more, but I did a straight turnaround to Vegas. And people talk about turnarounds, they'll drive to Vegas and then have fun and then drive back.
Uh huh.
I literally right out of work. DFW airport is just down the street from work. So I took a plane. It was one of those cheap airlines, Spirit,
A
I think it was,
Legion or something. Yeah.
from Spirit straight to Vegas. Had some fun. And then in the morning, I ended up getting a room, but in the morning, I hit the airport again, then flew back here, back in Grapevine, Texas, in time for work the next day. So that was literally a turnaround. That was the first time I ever done that, and I was like, wow, I never really actually did a straight turnaround before like that. But I mean, to answer your question, shoot, my favorite times in Vegas was always CES time.
Right.
Um, you know, it, a lot of times when you go to Vegas and you want to get in these big clubs and stuff like
Hmm.
that, it's difficult, either that or they charged. Man, I remember I went to Omnia at Caesars for my birthday just this past July. I think it was like $75 per person, which it was my birthday, so we went in
Right.
splurge. But during CES, a lot of these big companies, these big tech companies, they'll rent out the whole club, and then
Yes.
if you have your badge, if you get the special invite from the company, it's free. You get to go in. It's most cases open bar. You
Yep.
get a bunch of food, and if you don't believe me, check out my Facebook page.
Oh yeah.
Um, I got pictures and
So,
albums. I had like bacon wrapped shrimp at this
come on.
one
So
place.
so
I was like,
you
I never had
know,
that before.
so the two companies that had the best parties though, by
Hmm.
far, Kicker
Yeah, yeah.
and MTX. Cause
I've been to both.
remember MTX used to do the MMA fighting. Like they would have like a personal fight with only like 300 people, 150 people, hardly anybody, and it'd be a
Mm,
true MMA fight, right? This was
yeah.
before MMA was a huge deal, though. But yeah, they used to have like MMA fights. I went to a kicker party one time, Kenny Wayne Shepherd with 100 people. You know,
What?
yeah, they did it at the Hard Rock Cafe. They
You
literally
know what?
rented out like a convention room.
Yeah. I think they had like it was X Games Sports. They had like dirt
Yeah,
bikes, I think one year.
yeah.
Um yeah, Kicker throws a really good party. MTX, I remember going to one where I think was it at the Riviera? And it was casino night. So they were
Mhm.
handing out like play money and stuff like that, and then you get to play all the casino games, and then at the end you get to use like you know how Chuck E. Cheese you get those tickets and then you
Yeah.
buy stuff from the store. So a lot of us all pooled our money together, gave it to Roger, and Roger ended up buying this little mini pocket bike that we actually still have in the warehouse. But it's got MTX stickers all over it. That was one of my fondest memories of MTX party. But I mean, it could just be like I know Kinetic back in the day when Eric Harbor was working
Hmm.
there. Killer parties at the Palms every
Yep.
year. I can recall a time we were there, and man, it was like everybody who was anybody was there. We
Yep.
were just all just drinking and having fun and yeah, they had one year it was at a suite. I think it was featured on MTV and it had a bowling alley in there too. I was
So that
We
was
were
the Kingpin
bowling.
Suite, and
Kingpin suite,
yes,
okay.
so I was up there for that year too. So
Were
there's a
you okay?
bar literally at the end of the lanes, and then they
Hmm.
had two lanes right there. It was the Kingpin
Yeah,
Suite.
yeah,
So
yeah. That was
yeah,
one of my fondest memories.
but
But
that was
yeah, that
before
was
I
the
was
best
back
times.
bowling. So
Ah, okay. I think
I,
I don't know if it was a regulation lane or
it is,
or
it is.
bowling lane.
It's an
Oh, is
actual,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, the guy I'm going to go bowl with tonight when we're done with the podcast, he was
Hmm.
actually in the movie Kingpin. He was Woody Harrelson's bowling double. So instead of a stunt
Ah,
double, he
okay.
was his bowling double. And it's a guy named Elliot Morrison or Elliot Morris. Anyway,
Hmm.
so I bowl with him tonight. So he's a friend of mine from back then. But yeah, no, that's it's those parties, and for me personally, just because of what I like to do, and I try to be the dumbest guy in the room. I like to go there, hang out with Robert Zeff, or you get hanging out with some of those engineers and stuff,
Hmm.
and we can
Yeah.
talk about, you know, this design and why this works or why that doesn't work. I remember back in shoot like 2004-ish, 2003, back when I was on Team Soundwaves with Miguel Ayala and Chris
Howard?
Howard. Yeah, Chris Howard. It was me, Chris Howard, and then Q, which was Scott Sanborn.
Hmm.
So when we were on that team together, we went down there, and there was this guy that was there for Illuma Pro. Back when Illuma Pro had the subs, and then they were making the prefab
Oh,
boxes,
okay.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
And he's like, "All you guys are dumb." He goes, "You guys are
What?
trying to put all these batteries and this and that." He goes, "I could build you essentially a capacitor bank that will outperform any of that stuff that you guys got there." And come to find out, after years and years and years, of understanding what it is, he was literally talking about like lithium technology
Wow.
way back in like
Way
2000
back
years.
then,
He goes,
huh?
you guys are idiots. This is what you need to be buying. You buy these things, we can build it. He goes, we can put it all together, and it'll be a little expensive, but I promise you it'll last longer and it'll destroy whatever the heck you're using right now as far as output. So, that's something cool you get to see.
Oh yeah.
That was around the same year that what was it called? Like the Warhammer or um, the
Or
20,000, the
was it
20,
Kicker?
no, 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 it wasn't Kicker. It
Oh.
was Rock from Fosgate's 20,000 amp,
Oh, okay.
20,000 watt amp. It was just a generator is what it was
Oh.
back then. It
Mhm.
was realistically it was just an inverter, but it was a 20,000 watt amp that they put out on display then. You get to see cool stuff like that, and then you used to get a walk around, because it was in all the halls.
Mm.
Kind of jonesing to go to CES again this year, but it might be a little
I
tough
think
for
I'm
me.
gonna pass.
Are you?
I think I'm probably retired from that. So I mean, you
Yeah.
guys have fun. It's a lot of fun. But I was going since like 2000, and then I
Yep.
I even told myself, I said, you know what, 2020 is a nice round number. I think that's when I'm just gonna call it quits and stop going to CES and all the after parties and stuff like that. And then
Because you're getting
COVID
old.
hit. I'm getting old, and it just seems like it's almost the same thing over and over, and
Yeah.
it's fun. But then when COVID hit, I was like, oh man, there's no CES this next year, 2021, and I was like, let me go one more time just to make sure that it's still how it was.
Yeah.
And then it this last year, oh man, it was. I mean, and I think there was sentiments felt by a lot of people that it was as far as like maybe a 12-volt industry, it wasn't as how it used to be. So that just kind of maybe cemented my decision even more. So don't get me wrong, I still signed up. I mean, I got like passes coming to me. I'm probably gonna go the weekend before to Vegas just so I can get my passes and keep that alumni status, so I don't
Okay.
have to pay if I want to go again. But yeah, everybody have fun. There's so much to do there, and I used to stay like for the whole week,
Oh
every
yeah.
January. So that's rough
Yeah, no,
as it is.
so my boss, at the time, whatever, I flat out told him, I says, hey, look, I'm going to CES. You do whatever the hell you want. You can fire me, whatever, but I'm going to be at CES.
Hmm.
Is definitely what it was. Janet, the bass queen, asked, is finals going to be in the same place as this year? In California, we intend it to be. We haven't finalized it yet, so I can't say yes, but the intention is yes to have it at the same place we had it at this year. So, CES was cool. Like Alpine always had an
Oh
awesome
yeah,
booth, right?
yeah.
Um, I remember seeing that one car that they hand built every single section of the car. There was not a place on the car other than the windows themselves that didn't have some hand work done to it. Every door
Wow.
did. And then the paint, remember it was like the lightning blue paint went
Mm.
inside the car. Like you open up the door and the paint scheme went into the car and all that stuff. And then they also had the SPL box or whatever they called it. Remember you
Oh, it was
stand inside,
that yeah, you can walk inside of it. Yeah,
yeah,
okay, I
and
remember
it'd do
that.
like 162 dBs.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh, Ethan Mendez says I can hear
Uh-huh.
Jeffrey talking in the other room.
What?
Is he there with you working?
He's yeah, he's in the where I'm in the studio, and he's just in the other room.
Uh,
He's working on some stuff, so
putting some
we can have
subwoofers
him. We can
together.
bring him on.
Yeah, if he wants to come in, we still got a few minutes.
Yeah, Ethan, if you're listening in, if you want to be a quick guest, doors
Yeah,
open. Come on in.
come on in. Anyway, yeah, so CES is good. So I've never been to SEMA though.
Okay.
You've been to SEMA,
Yeah, I've
and,
been to SEMA.
and
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on SEMA?
This was years ago though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was um, Jonathan DeMuth
Right.
back then, T3
T3
Technologies. I think
audios,
now
yeah.
more. I think he's into he heads Prodigy. I think the name of the company is.
Okay.
He got me a pass, and um, wow, I think I only stayed like 2 days or so. I didn't even like get a chance to get the full experience of SEMA.
Hmm.
But yeah, wow, that place is huge. I mean, you think about like with CES, you got the 12 volt, the automotive stuff. It used to be just kind of in um, in the North Hall for SEMA, man. Every hall had vehicles and car aftermarket stuff.
Right.
Ethan's just poking his nose over here. Come on in, Ethan. But yeah, so I don't know. I'd like to go check it out, but I just I think it's just gonna be too overwhelming. There's Ethan Mendez here. Those of you that don't know him that come to the Crossfire shows, he's always hanging out, taking pictures. Yeah, he's a social media guru.
Oh, is he the social media guy for Crossfire?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, cool.
he's actually working on the Black Friday flyer as we speak. So
Oh,
yeah.
there we go. Well, tell him we're only about 10 minutes away from about talking about it again. If he has one
Yes,
printed up that he can throw in the window there, throw it on
I
the
think
screen.
the flyer he's working on is gonna go on Facebook, but the
Okay.
emails to the dealers
Oh, it's a
need to be.
dealer deal, not a retail deal, right? So,
Yeah, you know what? I had to get some clarification on that. I'm like, I know, having talks with Roger, he kind of prides himself in not being direct to consumer,
right.
which not a lot of companies still do that. A lot of companies are direct to consumer, and from talks with him, it's just I guess an avenue he uh, is not interested in at this time, but I think maybe eventually, I think a lot of companies kind of succumb to that.
Hmm.
But that's just in my opinion. But yeah, so I had to get clarification from Roger. I was like, so is this Black Friday for for everyone? It's for the dealers that they can pass on the savings to the consumer.
Hmm.
Just be aware that hey, there's this Black Friday special. If you guys were on the fence about certain products, maybe the new product that's was kind of made its debut yesterday in the USACI lanes, the new well, I should say the returning BMF series.
Oh, BMF coming again,
Um,
huh?
yeah, BMF's
Big
coming
mother
back,
effer.
and you know, I don't know the exact term or the exact words. I know it's blank. No, no, it's bad blank 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 mother effer or something like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I know Crossfire put a teaser out. Their new BMF 8K amplifier, BMF 12K amplifier, and there was just like, man, talking about breaking the internet. That's kind of what it did. So, you
Cool.
know,
Uh,
exactly.
Childers Audio says Ethan kicked my butt in Trunk 3K at the USACI event.
Ah, oh,
Um,
okay.
Tristan from Barbados says one of my good friends from here in Barbados went to SEMA and he got to meet Justin Hankey from DC Audio
Oh,
and got
cool.
to see the van in person. Um, him and Tiffany want to go next year to SEMA and finals for sure. So um, those are good times to go. That's really good because SEMA and finals tend to be really close together. So you can plan like a 2 week thing over here in the States and go hit both of them. You just have to figure out which finals you're going to go to. Canada, East Coast, West Coast, whatever. So that's one of the things you got to figure out. But yeah, no, I mean, we had great days back in the days with I mean, I still remember my first time going uh, to CES. It was completely overwhelming. Um,
Was it?
oh yeah, but I was there also as a manufacturer, right? So I wasn't
Oh,
just
you were working
there.
it.
Yeah, and so I went over to the China section and
Yeah.
was sourcing my stuff, because they have a China section there too for people that know.
I don't think
You
it was there last year though. I
It
was looking
wasn't.
for it because they had a lot of cool they always have a lot of cool
They
stuff
do.
that they even like give away. But
Yes.
yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, and if you're for and just a hint for people that have never been to CES, I don't know if they do this at SEMA too, but on the very last day, if you go talk to those
Mm.
China companies, you may be able to roll up on a sweet ass deal on some of the stuff they got there because they don't want to put
Oh
it back
yeah.
on the boat and bring it back to China.
Exactly, exactly. That's why we
Just
like going to that area. You know, I
That's
think we
right.
walked away with, like headphones before. We had some projectors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Dude, I
yeah.
picked up like 6 or 7 amplifiers that way.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
Like samples or just like
Sure. You call them,
Sure.
call them whatever you want. They just didn't want to bring them back to China.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I think
That's fun times.
so. This was when a 2,000 watt amp was a big amp. I think I got a couple of 1,500s and 1,000 watt amps each for like $80 a piece.
Wow.
So which then was dirt cheap for those because you were thinking the manufacturer cost on one of those 1,000 watt amps was like 300 or 400 bucks. So yeah, I got them for like $80 a piece because they didn't want to put them back on the boat. So, um, but anyway, hey, yeah. So I got my Toys for Tots coming up. We're gonna try and get the Mellows on here again next year. They had a great time when they talked to us last year about their Toys for Tots, sharing with us about where all the toys go, where the money goes. All that
Mhm.
stuff was way cool to them. They really, really enjoyed the podcast. So we'll get them on again next week. They could talk about that. That's coming up. Um, you you're looking for a date for your Toys for Tots.
Yes. Yeah.
You're running out of dates.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I would have, I guess I would imagine, a lot of these orgs, they want to kind of don't want to be too close to Christmas or too far away or too
Right.
early in the month of
Kind of
December.
want to be after Thanksgiving, but before the third week in December, right? So
Right.
that only
Yeah.
gives you 4 weekends to choose from.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's tough. But hey, well, let's go over our sponsors again one more time. It's going to be eBox right there in the chat. Talk to him if you guys need any box design or install. Voodoo Customs if you're around that area.
Mhm.
Talk to Voodoo Customs, and then obviously Crossfire Car Audio. Why don't you tell us, or is there anything that Ethan wants to share with us for Crossfire, since he's the multimedia guy?
I think he just went back into his room. So
He's avoiding you
work
guys.
he's he's working hard on the flyer as we speak. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, here he says, "Woohoo, Crossfire." Yes. So Crossfire dealers, if you're watching, you're listening, check your emails. You guys should be getting flyer for the specials that we got going on at Crossfire. Killer deals you can pass on to your customers. And if you're listening and you're a consumer, hit up your favorite Crossfire dealer and can wheel and deal.
That's right. There may be some willing and dealing going
Yeah.
on. Uh, One of the other thing that's cool about CES, if you're a gamer at all, dude, the
Oh
gaming
yeah.
section at CES is freaking
Yeah.
awesome. The
Hmm.
VR stuff, the
VRs. Yeah.
also the Internet of Things is big
Hmm.
there. The what do they call that? The autonomous house or whatever, the virtual
House.
house. Yeah, so like
Oh, okay.
everything
Yeah.
in your house can be. Oh, there he goes. It popped up. Woohoo! Crossfire finally. um,
Yeah.
uh, it's you see where they have windows that become TV screens.
Oh yeah.
Then they have the was it 500-foot TV or something like that they always have.
I think that was always the central hall. You would walk in,
Yeah.
and LG would have this like humongous display, their TVs, and I think just like what you're saying, they have like TVs at that could like roll into like a little a
Oh yeah.
poster or something like that.
Yep.
But that hall was pretty nice too. I also like going to the South Hall. It was kind of in the not too. It was recently they had. That's basically where they had the drones. So it
Oh
was
yeah.
like, man, they
Is
had
that
like
where they have the
every
robots too?
the robots. Yeah, they
Dude,
had the
you remember the
robots.
first time we saw the robots there? They were creepy as hell.
Were they? I
Dude,
know
because
just recently they had the dog, the robot dog
oh,
that was
so
kind of creepy.
so they had the robot that would walk autonomously, just kind of
What?
and then
Oh,
it would sit down and then it would flip over, land on its feet. I remember that that was
what?
like in 2017 or something. And
I
it's
know
like,
Honda had something like that,
yeah,
right?
it
Something.
was the Honda
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Hmm.
whoa, that's creepy. That's a little iRobot-ish, you know? If you guys have seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. So next thing you know, the eyes are going to turn red on the thing and, you know, they're going to be
Oh,
after us. Um,
Judgment Day, right?
yeah, a little Judgment Day action. But they have that. They have the drones.
Hmm.
I remember going one year and they had laser discs and they were competing, right, for
Wow.
versus CDs or versus DVDs, right?
Hmm.
Um, you get to see all kinds of cool technology. There was a 3D camera back in 2005 or six. They had a
Hmm.
3D camera, and I actually recorded some video for from Autorama with the 3D camera. It didn't work out very well. But it was the first of its technology. The problem was is unless you were exactly 3 feet from the camera, it distorted it because it had two separate eyes, right? And they were focused at 3 feet
Mm.
away from the camera. So if you were, a car being 20 feet away, it was really out of focus. So,
Oh man,
but
you're
it
making
was a
me want to go again.
it was a cool idea. David Hunt, he says he can comment now. And
What?
he says
Did not
bucket
even.
list. Oh, you know what? So Steve Willis texted me, and um, hey man, you got to get rid of all this porn on the Sonic FX site.
Oh.
I will help you monitor it. So I put a restriction that you cannot comment or whatever until you've been approved. And
Oh, okay.
so
But you know what? It wasn't just the Sonic FX site. I think it
it
was kind
wasn't.
of like, yeah, it was like everywhere. And I was like, wait a second, this is, somebody, this is like some kind of scam or
Yeah.
somebody got
Um,
hacked.
so yeah, I don't
So, oh,
know.
that's why everybody's saying, hey, I can comment now. Okay.
Yes. So, but yeah, Steve Willis said he was going to help me with that, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, he says, oh, okay, yeah. So if you guys post something and it doesn't show up right away until we approve you the first time, after you've been approved, then your post will show up. But Steve Willis and I are going to kind of try and keep an eye on that. And I appreciate him doing that because I don't get on Facebook very often. But if you guys ever do see something that shouldn't be on there, if you hit me on Messenger, it goes directly to my watch and I will get on there and correct it right away. So,
Mhm.
um,
Right here, Steve De Los Santos says, hello, fellas.
oh, yeah, there he is.
He was at the show on Sunday.
Was he?
He's rebuilding his blazer right now. I don't know if he wanted me to reveal that. Sorry, Steve. But he was there. He's a part of the Team Voodoo Customs guys,
Hmm.
along with Fred and Robert, as well as Lewis. They were all out at the show yesterday. Fred actually won loudest score of the day, and I
Roger's hundred
awarded him.
bucks.
No, no,
Okay.
actually, actually, Dana won that for placing first. And
Woohoo!
thanks, Roger. Dana and I ended up taking out to the Texas Roadhouse and got some steaks. Thanks for the $100. But No, so Fred, yeah, he won loudest a day, and I gave him a DB Drag Racing racing jersey
Oh,
for his accomplishment. So I gave one to loudest of the day, as well as the base racer that was I was wanting the first base racer to hit that .99, but nobody
right.
hit a .99. So it was just like, okay, the closest was Alan Ray, and I think he did a .98. So
Okay.
I awarded him a shirt. He actually had a choice: a shirt, bag, or a hat. So he took a hat. And then I also did a contest. Last contest I did for a shirt. This contest I did a little different, and it was just an old-fashioned scream off, right? So you
Okay.
take the sensor.
So
I
what
kind
kind
of
of numbers were you getting on
well,
that?
see, that's the thing. I didn't get too much on the rules, and there was one guy who kind of knew the inner workings of the sensor.
Okay.
So, yeah, the rules basically was you can cup it, you can't put your mouth on it, right?
Okay.
So, I picked two guys at first. It was a gentleman named Chevy Black and then Tony Curry who competed at the event. They did the contest last month and they had fun, so they did it again this time. And so just the rule was, you can cup the sensor, you can't put your
Mhm.
mouth on it. And then three people wanted to do it. I was like, okay, let these two guys go, and then the winner is going to take on this guy straight bracketing, right? So there's this one gentleman came up and he, in his unique way,
He
put up
manipulated it
yeah, put up a score. So he,
around a 148.
it was, yeah, I think it was a 148. Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
Eric posted. He says what
yeah. And
Eric
then
says
the other
148.
guys, poor Tony, he literally screamed
Yep.
in the sensor, and I think he did like a 116. And then
Yes.
like he let out another scream, and then it went up like a few tenths, and that's kind of what I wanted to see. But it was kind of my fault. I didn't be too specific in the rules, and I think his name was Colby. Colby ended up winning a T-shirt, but it was fun.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. Once I get back to my house, and I'm not working in Reno anymore, we'll start raffling stuff off again during the shows. I got a couple more jerseys we can raffle. I got
Oh,
T-shirts
cool.
from old DB Drag World Finals that we can give
Hmm.
away, like the one I was wearing last week, a 2013, um, World Finals, the one that was out at Lake Paris in
Oh, wow.
SoCal.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, Eric says the other person was a 114. So they only lost by 34 dB. That's all.
I remember doing that contest when Rockford had it back in,
but
I think it was in San
but it was with the
Bernardino.
stick mics.
Exactly. It was with the
So
audio
way different.
controls and
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
They pick up
And
higher frequencies where our microphones don't. Our sensors don't.
right, right.
So, and your typical voice is in the 300 range roughly, and that's outside of the range that the DB drag typically picks up, right?
Maybe I should have put it on RTA or something.
So you can put it on not freestyle, Pank It Out.
Ah,
So put it
Pankadao.
on
Okay.
Pank It Out, and that picks up
Yeah.
to 3K.
Okay.
So that may be the
Maybe
way to
I'll
go
try
about it
that
next
next
time.
time.
Yep. Anyway, hey, we're running up on our hour. That was pretty good. I had a good time talking to you about that. It was a good time to reminisce about CES and because yeah, CES, you always go to the Alpine booth, you go to the MTX booth to get the party invite, you go to Kicker to get the invite, um, and then Earthquake, you hang, and then honestly, guys that you have never met, but you see them online or you see stuff about them online, you will meet them at CES or SEMA, and it's oh, does giveaway when Blazer is down is what he says.
Yeah, Steve's usually the loudest competitor
Oh,
of the
so
day, but
so
since
he wasn't.
he's in the rebuilding stages,
So he gave it to
uh,
somebody else. Awesome. Anyway, yeah, and let's see real quick in Bridgetown, Barbados, there is a show coming up. Since he texted me, I will share that information. This is for Saturday the 18th at Highgate Bar from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. And so it's all the basic stuff. $10 from each entry goes to the top dog winner. Um, Parking, all this stuff, and then you get all the way down to the end. And his last
Oh
bullet point
man.
says, "All attendees are asked to act in accordance with the laws of Barbados. Looking forward to a safe and exciting event."
Yeah, I remember reading some fine print in that post. Was that what it was exactly? Just
Oh, that's what he texted it to me. So I'm guessing
oh,
that might be
okay.
off of his post.
Right. I think I remember seeing that on the post. I was like, yeah, I mean, I think that's cool information to know. I don't know, did something happen maybe at the last show that prompted that
I don't know.
that shout out? But
So it's definitely not on most flyers, we'll say. But all
obey
right,
the
guys.
law.
All right, guys. Once again, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Jeffrey and I just, talking about some good old days type stuff. Some of the stuff we've been doing in the past. Hopefully, inspire you guys to be part of something else. Um, if you get an opportunity to support the people, we got the buying season coming up. Support the people that support the things that you like to do. We got Voodoo Customs. We got E-Box, which is Eric Hansen right here in the thing. Jeff Menendez, the 17th is a good date for Toys for Tots
Oh,
per
okay.
Eric Hansen.
Those
That's
are
his
one of
suggestion.
the dates we're looking at.
And then obviously Crossfire Car Audio. We hyped them up a little extra tonight. They're trying to put something together. We appreciate them and their support. Giving us Jeffrey's time, having DB Drag events at their shop,
Mhm.
and supporting DB Drag as a general. I believe they support multiple orgs though. They do USAC and all that too, Jeffrey.
Yeah, yeah. I believe to an
Like their
extent.
World Finals extent.
Yeah, it's just a quick phone call. I know Rogers have supported not only specific organizations, but events as well,
Oh,
like
cool.
memorial events, big shows and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
yeah, they're definitely big supporters of the car audio community for sure.
Tiffany says nothing happened, just basic housekeeping.
Ah, okay.
Oh, and David Hunt says Toys for Tots is this Saturday for the Tennessee guys.
Ah, okay.
Hey, please go support any Toys for Tots you can. That's a
Mhm.
big deal. We obviously have big badass toys. Some kids don't get a Christmas and don't
Mm.
have any toys, and this is an opportunity to share with people that have way less than you. Always want to put that out there first. So, anyway, Jeffrey, any last thoughts, real quick, before we close this thing up?
Um, maybe just if you guys had any rules questions that maybe you would want to just kind of share through direct messaging, just hit us up, myself or Doug. It's something that we're going to be talking about soon here with DB Drag, um, and hopefully we'll get some rules and stuff all clarified and out for you guys, so you guys could start building bigger and better things.
Awesome. And for me, like I said, next week we're going to have the Mellows on here for Mellows Auto Repair. Um, One of the best Toys for Tots events anywhere in the country, especially for the car audio side. I mean, 2, 3 trailers full of toys, thousands of dollars to donate. It's a phenomenal event. So if you guys get the opportunity in the Sacramento area, or just want to drive up and check out this, I mean, the raffle takes us an hour and a half. We have so many things to raffle off. So um, if you
Wow.
guys, it's a phenomenal event. If you get an opportunity, come by and check it out. Other than that, we'll see you guys next week on This Week in Car Audio. Thanks for tuning in. Peace. We out.